All right, guys, we just wrapped up the stream. Canelo vs. Scull is in the books. Not the most eventful fight, but we got the real main event afterwards, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I'm going to start off with the actual fight. Canelo wins on the cards, 115, 113, 116, 112, 119, 109, which was extremely wide. I'd say I'd give Scull maybe 2 to 3 rounds just because nothing was really happening in those rounds. That would be the only advantage that he really got. But this was a disgraceful performance from William Scull, and he'll probably never main event another big-time card ever again in his life. This is what I don't understand. I'm going to take the headband off, actually, because I did this for the fight night, but we done glazing Canelo because I don't know who I'm picking for this Canelo-Crawford fight. After the performance tonight, which wasn't mainly, like I said, we'll get to Scull first. I'll address him first. This is what I don't understand so much about these guys that finally get their big payday and almost come into the payday like, I made it. Like, I made it in life. This is my biggest moment. I'm getting paid. Thank God. I'm going to just run around the ring, collect my check, and we good to go. Which is cool. Getting the fight is a big accomplishment. But why not make something of it? A lot of times we get these guys that finally get the big name fight. William Scull. What's another one? What's like Frank Martin against Tank? Charlo against Canelo. These guys finally get the big time pay-per-view draw, name on their resume, and they just lay an egg and don't go for it. As opposed to guys that fight against Canelo or fight against Gervonta or fight against a big name and lose, but actually go for it. What happens to those guys? They're able to build a whole career and main event cards afterwards off the respect they gained for going up against a big name and losing in a respective way, the fact that you went for it. Look at Rolly Romero. All these years later, getting a win over Ryan Garcia. Y'all think Rolly Romero would have got this main event fight and had the name value to go against Ryan Garcia on a main event in a pay-per-view if he didn't come up and show up against Gervonta? Y'all think if he would have just laid down, not even gone for it, that he would still be able to be a name all these years later? No. Everybody knows Rolly. Everybody memed him. Everybody made fun of him, but they gained a respect for him. Like, yes, Tank splattered this dude. Yes, Tank knocked this dude out. But, hey, man, that dude went for it. Versus what happened to Frank Martin after he fought Tank? What have you heard from Frank Martin since he fought Tank? What has Charlo done since he fought Canelo? Versus Berlanga, he was just on the broadcast yesterday announcing the main event that he's getting. If you actually go for it, people will respect you even if you lose. Berlanga went for it. Berlanga got dropped. Berlanga got hurt, but he stood in there and he fought toe-to-toe with Canelo. And I'm not even a Berlanga fan, but look, Berlanga's still getting main events. Caleb Plant's still getting main events. The guys that actually go for it and lose to these big names in a respectable fashion will still be able to build a career years and years after it off of the respect they got off of that fight. So why would you not? William Scull, what was the point? What were you doing, man? And it's almost as if he thought he was winning, or he was so happy with the payday that he didn't give a damn what the fight result was. Everybody knew he was probably down 8 rounds to 0. And he's not having a sense of urgency. He's not trying to make a comeback. He's not trying to hurt Canelo. He's running around the ring in circles, slipping a punch and smiling. Someone in the chat said, "Oh, this was probably his game plan to run from Canelo and then tire him out." I said, "What? It's 8 to 0. He has 23 fights and 9 knockouts. Canelo has a generational chin. He's not going to knock him out. A decision was the only way he was going to win. Brother, Losing 8 rounds in a row, deciding to turn it up, even if you would have run those last 4 rounds, you lose 8-4. What a genius game plan. That shit is just disgraceful, bro. And I do think Canelo does hold a little bit of responsibility, because I think a younger Canelo would have been able to hunt him down, would have been able to trap him, catch him in a trap, and knock him out. He was missing. He was whiffing on a lot of big punches when he tried to actually make Scull engage. But I ain't going to put that on Canelo too much, because sometimes it's hard to fight a guy that don't want to fight. It's hard to fight a guy that don't want to fight. But I think a younger Canelo would have hunted him down and be able to find a big shot. But I ain't going to fault him too much. But the fact that he wasn't able to hunt him down, and the fact that he wasn't able to land really any super hurtful shots on Scull when he didn't have really any resistance coming back, Canelo was getting frustrated. Canelo at the end of the fight, Scull goes in for a handshake and a hug and a smile on his face, even though he just got dominated. Canelo looked like he didn't even want to hug him at first. He eventually did embrace him a little bit. They had a little moment, but it looked like Canelo was like, come on, man. You wasted everybody. We flew all the way here to Saudi Arabia. It's like, it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning their time. We did all this, and this how you performed? You know you ain't never going, this is it. This is it. This is it for you. No rematch. You didn't make yourself a household name. Nobody's going to be calling to fight you after this. Caleb Plant went from Canelo, and then he got Benavidez. He got the biggest name, then he went to the next biggest name. Don't nobody give a damn about you fighting you next. Don't nobody think that throwing you on a main event is going to sell anything. If I see your name on a pay-per-view, I'm clicking off of it. Forever. For the rest of my life. I just don't get it, man. But what saved the night and what saved damn near the weekend. This has been a rough weekend for boxing. A rough weekend. 2 nights in a row where we had a bunch of lackluster performances in big-time fights. And I will say to the chat, somebody in the chat, a lot of these MMA fans, or just, cynical boxing fans, become just too dramatic, saying boxing is dead, saying all they do in boxing is run. Guys, we got to remember, just a week ago, we had one of the greatest fights we've seen in a long time. Eubank versus Conor Benn was just a week ago. So let's relax. We get duds every once in a while. This was a rough weekend. So don't lose your mind too much, because now we got Canelo versus Crawford. And during the broadcast tonight, this was one of the first times I said Crawford can win this fight. I always said Canelo was too big, too strong, too powerful. But when he wasn't able to hunt down Scull and actually start landing big shots, and he hasn't been able to do that for quite a while. He hasn't got a stoppage in quite a while. He hasn't really, really, really beat somebody up. And it makes me think maybe Crawford can do it. It's a big weight jump. It's a big weight jump, but what if Scull was able to avoid the big shot, what makes you think Crawford can't avoid the big shot? If he still maintains his speed at that higher weight, maybe he can out-slick Canelo. And he ain't going to run the whole fight like Scull. He'll actually sit down and throw some punches to score some points. Maybe. I don't know. I was very excited when they said bro. I almost fell out of my damn seat when they said Las Vegas. Because, boy, I thought Turkey was going to put that shit in Saudi Arabia, and I was going to be so mad I wouldn't be able to go. But Las Vegas, September 12th, Allegiant Stadium, I'm going to be there. No matter what, I'm going to be there. I guarantee it. I will be there. This is the biggest fight we've had probably since Floyd retired. This is probably the biggest fight. Spence Crawford was amazing. Gervonta versus Ryan was amazing. But this is probably the biggest fight we've had since Floyd retired. I'll be honest. Usyk Fury was amazing. Usyk Wilder was amazing. Joshua Klitschko was amazing. But this is probably the biggest fight we've had since Floyd retired. And boy, I can't wait. Boy, I can't wait. That face-off really saved the night. Face-to-face, Canelo don't look that much bigger. He's never been super tall. He's never been super big for 168. He was a big 154-pounder. He was pretty big for 160. He was big at 147, but 168, he's kind of undersized. 175, he was super undersized. So maybe a completely filled out Crawford at 168, man. They might not look that much different in the ring. Canelo is a big guy, obviously, weight-wise. But as far as height, reach, I don't know. I think it's going to be very telling in the first couple rounds of that fight. If Crawford is able to put any punches, if Crawford is able to maintain any level of power at 168, I think Canelo might be in trouble. If we see a punch land in the first 3 to 4 rounds that stuns Canelo, he might be in trouble. He might be in trouble. Because we already know, like every time I have a prediction for a Canelo fight, I tell y'all he might lose the first 3 to 4 rounds. It's the same for Gervonta. He might lose it the first 3 to 4 rounds. It takes him a while to get started. First 3 to 4 rounds, he ain't going to do much. 5, 6, 7, he'll start to turn it up. He'll start to land big shots. And then he'll probably finish you between the 8th and the 12th. That was always my prediction for Canelo fights for a while, but these last couple, he ain't been able to finish these guys. It's just been Canelo by decision for a while. And if it goes to decision, I don't know. Can this version of Canelo beat Crawford by decision? I don't know. He don't throw a lot of punches, man. He doesn't throw a lot of punches. He doesn't stay active. He doesn't have the fastest feet. The more and more fights that we've seen of Canelo in the last couple of years, it's the narrative that this is just a non-event fight and Canelo will just run him over because he's too big, too strong, too powerful, too big of a weight jump. Every fight he's had over the last year or two has chipped away at that argument for me. And this is a toss-up fight. I think Canelo will be the favorite, but this is not this is worthy of me going to the fight week in person. This is worthy of seeing history. This is not a circus fight. This is a real fight. This is a real fight. And I don't know. If you told me the fight went to the decision, I might say Crawford wins. If you say it's a knockout, I might say Canelo. I definitely would probably say Canelo if it's a knockout. Because who the hell knocks out Canelo? Nobody. Who drops Canelo? Nobody. If it's a knockout, I'd say it was Canelo. But if you told me right now Canelo versus Crawford went the full 12 rounds, I'd probably say Crawford would be the one to win a decision. Who knows, man? Who knows? Who knows? It's gonna be telling. Does he carry the power? Does he still have the speed? If he still carries the power and he still has the same speed or similar speed to what he had at 154, Crawford might win, man. Crawford might win. And y'all know I love Canelo. I defended him for years against the Duck and Benavidez allegations. I defended him for years. But he might be in trouble, man. I don't know. I know he acted like he didn't want to accept it before. He finally decided to accept it now. He hasn't looked, as dominant in his last couple of fights. It's made me kind of shift. But we do got to think about this. Because a lot of people are looking at it like, is Canelo washed? Is it finally Crawford's time? Guys, Canelo's younger than Crawford. Y'all know that, right? I know he's been around forever. I know he fought Floyd, which is like, oh, that's ancient history. I know he fought Floyd, but he was in his early 20s. Canelo is 34 years old, guys. He feel like he's been around forever. He is 34 years old. Crawford is 39, I think. Crawford's 37. He's 3 years younger. The height advantage is only 1 inch. Crawford's 5'8", Canelo's 5'9". When they faced off, it didn't look much of a difference. Crawford's reach is 74. It's the same reach as mine. Crawford's reach, 74. Canelo's reach, 70.5. Longer reach. Actually, Crawford might be taller. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at this face-off. I don't know, man. I don't know. Canelo's had issues. Canelo's had issues with southpaws, too. Canelo's had issues with Lara. He had issues with Danny Jacobs when he was switching southpaw. I know he broke his face and retired him, but he had issues with Billy Joe Saunders early. Saunders had some moments. Crawford's just as good at both stances, man. This is a real fight. Let me know what y'all thought about the fight tonight. That bullshit. I don't even think we should have many thoughts about that, but let me know what y'all think about Crawford versus Canelo. Early predictions. Way too early predictions. Drop them in the comments. Who y'all got? Crawford versus Canelo. Let me know. This is a real fight. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to have content going up. I will be there live in person. I'm going to have a whole bunch of fight week content when that fight gets here. So lock in with me. Thank you, everybody that came to the stream tonight. Appreciate y'all. We do this for all the big fights. Boxing, UFC. We do it. Peace out. I'm going to catch y'all later.